Hi, and welcome to the Missouri Gardener. Today we are finally planting out some warm weather crops. Our average last frost here in southeast Missouri is April 15th. However, just a couple days ago, we had frost for 2 nights, and I am very thankful that I did not jump the gun. I checked the weather and I realized that we were going to have a frost. So today we are transplanting some cucumbers and squash. They're looking a little yellow because they're tired of being in these little containers, but I did not plant them out because we had that late frost that was a little bit unexpected. So your average last frost does not always mean that it won't frost after those dates. You can save your plants by covering them, but again, I don't have the patience to cover them and then uncover them and cover them and uncover them. So I am very thankful for that. What we're planting today is going to be squash and cucumbers and all of the companion plants that go along with that, the ones that are ready to be planted out. So we have zucchini, we have a scallop squash. Those are going to go on the corners of my beds. And then we have a trombetta. I have no idea how to say that. I'll put that on the screen. We're going to plant that on what will be a trellis. I don't have it in yet. So I am breaking my cardinal rule of making sure you have your trellising system up before you are planting, because you will forget and then it'll sprawl all over the place. However, we're putting it out because it's ready. And so it's going to go on an arch trellis that I will be installing in a new pathway that I have in the garden. And then the cucumbers that we're doing all pickling cucumbers. We're doing a Boston pickling, we're doing a Wisconsin pickling, and then we're going to do a cucumber Space Master. The 2 larger varieties of cucumbers that I'm going to be planting, they're going to be on a trellis or close to a trellis. The Space Master, I'm not planting on a trellis at all. They're more of a smaller variety, so we're going to let them kind of sprawl on the ground. The companion plants that we're going to be planting today, we have marigolds here, a tall and short variety. We also have parsley and we have alyssum, so we're going to plant that, and we have nasturtiums way over here. Some really fun nasturtiums to go out. So all of that we're going to plant around the base of the cucumbers. And I probably have more than I need here. For cucumbers, they're about 8 inches apart. So I'll make my first line will be 8 inches. Here's my trellis. So my plan is to have them go up the trellis, but also kind of sprawl out a little bit here on the ground so that I can pick them. And we're going to go that way. So I'm just using my stick. I'm going to poke a hole in the ground, kind of twist it around so that it can go through the compost and down into the clay where it can get a lot more moisture, because the compost does dry out pretty fast. We're going to do 1 on each side and then 1 down the middle. And we're going to try to keep the one of the cucumbers to this side, the other variety to that side, and the Space Masters, they're going to go over in a bed over there. So they're going to be in a completely different spot. So let's get planting. I do like to keep the taller cucumbers towards the middle of the bed, and then I kind of go down as you go towards the outside of the bed. So you put the tall things in the middle, and then you kind of step it down so that the sunlight, and you have to know where your sun comes up at. So my sun comes up over here and it sets over here. So anything that's on this side of the bed gets hot afternoon sun. So I'm going to plant things like Alyssum on this side of the bed, but marigolds on this side of the bed, because the marigolds love the heat. The Alyssum does not. It's kind of what my plan is. I'm also going to be putting down some potash, because I had my soil tested last fall, and I went ahead and put some of it down in the fall, and I'm going to put the other half at planting time, because my soil test told me that I was deficient in that. That is a cucamelon, and they have been popping up everywhere, and I have a very nice patch on the other side, so it's coming out. This side is going to be the Boston pickling. This side of the bed is going to be the Wisconsin pickling. We will go through and just tuck these in. I'll water them in a little while as well. I could have planted them a little bit deeper, but My planting stick is getting a little dull. I might have to make it a little sharp because the soil down in here is pretty wet. The compost is very dry. All right, now we're planting Alyssum and the marigolds. So the tall marigolds will go towards the back and the short marigolds will go towards the front, and the Alyssum is going to go on my east side of the bed so that it gets afternoon shade and hopefully lasts a little while longer. We're gonna plant them the same way we just planted those cucumbers. These cells are much smaller, so they'll just tuck right in there. I love my raised row gardening so much because I find it very affordable for other people and for myself. Because a raised bed, while it's nice, is very costly to put in. The cost of soil, the cost of lumber, the cost of like pretty much everything. A tiller, to buy a decent tiller that's gonna till up this hard clay is also very expensive. So to be able to lay cardboard out and cover with compost and then just to top it up with compost every year, I find is much more affordable. It's easier. There's very much less weeding. When people drive by my house, they'll ask me questions about the garden and how I garden, and I'm pretty vocal about the fact that I don't till because that's very uncommon around here. And do I maybe get the best? I don't know. Who knows? But is it easier for me? Yes. Do I get the biggest yields or the biggest tomatoes or anything like that? No, probably not, because I am fairly new to gardening. When I say new to gardening, well, I guess I'm older than I think I am because I've been gardening for at least 10 years now at this point. So I guess I'm not as new as I think, but I'm still learning every single day, all the time. I mess up, I kill things. If things don't survive on their own, forget about it. I don't like to pamper all that much. The edge of this bed right here is pretty compacted. So I'm using a shovel at this point to plant these shorter marigolds in here. But like I was saying, I love my raised row garden. I find it so much easier than tilling. I used to till my garden and I had zoysia grass inside of it or Bermuda grass, whichever one it was. And it was a nightmare and all I did was weed. So I switched to this. And it's been wonderful. Does it use a little bit more water? Yes, I do find that I have to water this a little bit more often if I don't keep things planted down in the clay. So I do find that my raised row gardening is a little bit harder to start seeds in the garden, especially when it's hot. In the springtime, not so much, but when it's hot outside, when I have to come out to the garden and water 2 to 3 times a day, forget about it, it's not happening. So it is a little bit harder to start seeds in. I have found that. And also currently right now I'm having a roly-poly problem eating all of my seedlings off. Also ants. This house has had an ant problem for years. And so ants do like to come in and eat my seedlings as well. So I use ant traps for those. But the roly-polies, I don't really know what to do about them yet. But if you're just thinking, I think I would like to garden, but you look at all these beautiful Pinterest pictures and everybody has these really pretty raised beds and everything's in neat little rows and all that. That's great, but it doesn't have to be that way. Do I love the look of a raised bed? Absolutely. But it's not the only way to garden, and neither is this. So find what works for you, start growing some stuff, see what you like, see what you are like, yeah, that's just not for me. Do you have to have a big garden that requires you to preserve things? Nope. You can have what my sister calls a snacking garden, just enough to come out and look and snack out of. What do you want to do with your produce? My cucumbers here, I picked all pickling varieties because I want to make pickles. If you want to eat them, you can eat these fresh, but if you want more of a really traditional fresh eating cucumber, plant an English cucumber. Think about what you like to eat and then plant that. Or do as I do and open a seed catalog and buy everything. I also have celosia in this tray. I haven't decided where to plant that yet. Now we're gonna water. Well, actually, we're gonna plant Alyssum. See how this soil just crumbles apart? That used to not happen. It used to just be clay. Now I try not to dig in it as much as possible because it disturbs everything. I might have put too much compost in this bed because the top couple inches are very powdery. Alyssum can be planted very close together. We're going for about 6 inches here. Finding lots of grubs. I wonder if that's why my moles are everywhere. If anyone does have ways that I can handle the roly-polies and the ants, that'd be great, because they do make it a little frustrating. And maybe it's a soil deficiency problem, because your soil health does pretty much mean everything. We are moving on to some squash. So we're going to plant a zucchini and a squash in each corner of this bed so they can kind of overflow. And then on that end, we're going to plant watermelon. I totally forgot we had that. So Sawyer, this is your bed. Do you want zucchini and a scallop squash, or do you want two zucchinis? What are you thinking?
Zucchini and
scallop
squash.
Okay. Now you got to keep these watered, okay? And if you don't, they'll die. These are our brand new beds that we just put in this year. There is a little bit of grass growing in it, so we kind of have been keeping an eye on that. But these are first year raised row garden beds. You want to dig the hole?
Yeah.
Okay. I got your squash. Here. You want to get down inside the dirt, okay? So that's where the moisture is.
Mom, I thought the whole thing was supposed to be sticking out. Wait, I see new roots going on there.
Yep. All right, let's go down and do the watermelon.
Down there?
You want to dig the hole?
Yep.
Let's put probably just 2 watermelon. What do you think? Maybe towards the middle here? The watermelon's going to take up a lot of your space. Is that okay?
Okay.
Whoop!
That's...
What's that? Piece of cardboard.
Yeah, I dig deep.
Yeah. See, the cardboard's already breaking down in there.
Yeah. That's how the grass is getting up.
Through the cardboard?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. We have some pretty aggressive grass, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. All right. Now, you know this watermelon needs a lot of water, okay?
Yeah, I'll go get the water.
Are you going to water it?
Yeah.
We're planting more squash. I like zucchini in a pretty easy walkway because it grows so fast that I want to be able to see it, because if not, it'll get lost in translation. These are leftover kales from last year. So I've just been using them to eat on until some of my other greens come in, as you can see over here, till they come in nice. And then I'll just go ahead and take these out. So we're just gonna kind of rotate them. Scallop squash and zucchini. And imagine this is a beautiful archway that we are walking through. I'm going to plant 2 on this side and 2 on this side. These are a type of squash that can grow up and around. Trombetta, I have no idea how to say it. I'll put it on the screen. But you can eat them when they're young and fresh and green and they have a real soft skin, or you can let them get a little bit hard and you can store them as a winter squash. So they do a little bit of both. So we're gonna plant them here. And they're also supposed to be a little bit more squash bug, squash vine borer resistant. So we're gonna test it out. These crooked poles, that's where it's gonna be. It's gonna kind of line up with the one that we have back there, little alleyway. The onions that you see blooming back here are full of pollinators, mostly honeybees. But they are a Welsh onion. They grow back every year. I do need to thin them out because they have more than I need, and I'll make an onion broth with those. They make a wonderful onion broth. I almost forgot the nasturtiums. So I'm going to plant them on each side of this trellis, and then wherever else I can fit them in at this point, because they work as an excellent trap crop for a variety of different pests. Also, the leaves are edible, and I put them in my fermented pickles, and you can put them in salads. They have a little bit of a peppery taste to them, so it's kind of a fun little addition to the garden. That's not gonna work. There's sunflowers everywhere. Maybe on the other side. Oh, that'll be much better. We'll put it right there. We are going to pull this sunflower. I have enough. I don't need 1,700. Because next year, if I don't pull some of them now, next year I'll have 17,000. They multiply like crazy. I don't remember what variety I planted. It was a nasturtium. We'll find out when it blooms. I'm going to continue to put all of these little seedlings that I have into the garden, tucking them in here and there, because of course I didn't plant anything and I just grew to my little heart's content in the month of February, and now I have way too many plants. But that's okay. What I don't use, I just give away to other people and they can use those as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.